It is Mariana's who watches it.
Dante's Boxing Nation. Dante's
Boxing Nation. Keep watching. Keep watching.
A lot of people, they don't do it straight down the line though. I mean, you speak a lot of truth and you give analytical points that's hard to refute. Now, I want to ask you about Gennady Golovkin. I was trying to ask you about
Sure,
that earlier.
no problem.
Some people believe he's overrated. Some people believe he's underrated. I mean, where do you see him? He's 34 years old. Like I said, his best opponent is David Lemieux. What do you think about him?
I think he's a guy who had 400 amateur fights and won a silver medal in the amateurs against the best amateur fighters in the world. After 400 fights, you better be more than just a tough, strong guy. You better know how to approach the boxing game in the ring, how to fight. You better know that. Otherwise, you should go out, like Costamato used to tell me, and after 400 fights, you don't know more than that. You should go sell Italian ices on the corner somewhere. So he knows more. After 400 fights, he knows more than he's given credit for. You know, his approach, not just his power, not just his will, not just his strong chin. He knows what he's doing in the ring there. You know, is he perfect? No, nobody's perfect. He's shown some susceptibility, and you would think that maybe it's with a guy who could box and a guy who has a good jab and a guy who won't engage him and a guy who's able to control range and be consistent in those kind of, parameters. But that takes quite a guy to do that against a guy who puts the pressure on and who is together in areas that Golovkin's together in. That takes a pretty damn good guy to do it, and so far nobody's done it. But has he been tested to the highest limits in this business with the highest stratosphere of fighters? No, he hasn't, but he's done a job with who he's been in there with. I never get too high or too low with what people say. It's always in the middle somewhere. Because, when people say, he's this indestructible monster that's going to clean up all the divisions, and this force that can't be reckoned with. I never believed that fully, but, I believe that, he's a guy that, with who he's in there with, he gets the job done. And then when I saw him against Lemieux and everybody started saying, oh my God, what a boxer. He's been hiding that dimension to him. Again, I took that with a critical eye, with a grain of salt, not just for the sake of being critical, but for the sake of looking at what is really there, not what we just want it to be, and not jumping too quick to just sprout out words out of your mouth, superlatives or negative, either one. But to look at what you're looking at and then make a properly educated call on what you saw. He used a better jab in that fight, but it was against a guy in Lemieux who's only a certain level fighter. I mean, please, not knocking Lemieux. He's a tough guy, he's a strong guy, he's a gutsy guy, but he's a guy who's available. He's a guy that, I would think that a guy with 400 amateur fights could show a jab against. And he was available to show that jab against, and he did. But does that make him, Jake LaMotta? Does that make him Sugar Ray Robinson? Does that make him Carlos Monzon? Does that make him Marvin Hagler? No. But, again, he's something to be dealt with. I'd love to see him fight Mayweather and see his strength and his ferocity and his will, being Golovkin that is, and his physical approach. I would like to see that tested with the science of a Mayweather, the speed of a Mayweather, the elusiveness, the craft of a Mayweather. I'd love to see that. A lot of people say Golovkin be too big, but also, if you believe in Floyd, you could say, well, Floyd would be too fast. Floyd would be too small. Floyd would be too cute. Floyd would be too slick. And so I'd like to see him tested. That's not going to happen in that way. But I'll tell you the one, if not that, the one I would be wearing a Golovkin hat if he wins this fight. And I don't know that it's going to happen because it's all about the money. But Ward, Andre Ward. For me, Andre Ward doesn't get enough credit. And look, some of it's his own fault. You know, he went AWOL. But he's a good human being, so that's where it starts with for me with him. And he's a guy that he brings the whole package in the ring. He's technically solid. You know, he can fight inside, he can fight outside, he can adjust, he can counterpunch, he could do whatever needs to be done. But the most important thing, he's mentally together. You know, he is at this level, at the highest of levels, which is what you aspire to be in anything, mentally, where he doesn't beat himself, he doesn't falter, he doesn't unravel, he doesn't disintegrate. He doesn't, like I used to say on ESPN Friday Night Fights, he doesn't look like a puddle on a warm summer day that evaporates right in front of your freaking eyes. No, Andre Ward is the goods, mentally, technically, physically. And if Golovkin ever beat him, well, then I would be, I'd be wearing a Golovkin hat.
Kiss, you can do whatever, you know.
Okay.
All right. Whenever you're ready.
It's your girl time.
No, I'm sorry. Walk up to me first. Walk all the way like this.
Okay.
It's the time you want to Dante.
Well, I gotta walk like that, like I'm.
No. You ain't gonna look like me. Well, I ain't gonna try to mimic.
No.
I ain't gonna try to mimic your sexy walk. All right. Ready? Go ahead.
What's up? This your girl time. You watching Dante's Boxing Nation. Hey.
Dope.